Hey, would everyone please rise for a moment of silence? Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pat, you got the roll taken.
Trustee Clayton.
Present.
Timothy.
Present.
Fallon.
Here.
Lindhorst. Mouse.
Here.
Solomon. Present. Mayor Griffin.
Here. The first item on the agenda is public comments. Would anyone care to address the village board tonight? Yes.
I'm gonna pass a picture around, I got it circled, there's a plaque on there, from, Roy Sumter. Apparently it was the first St. County resident in World War I that was killed. And that plaque was on the old Colorado School.
Oh.
And I was contacted about a month and a half ago about it. I've been in touch with the Farm Monument to get a price on what it would cost to have it mounted, and I just wanted to get approval from the trustees and or whatever else I needed to do to get a permission to go ahead and pursue to have a little ceremony to have it installed. And
Pat,
all that.
would you work with Les?
Sure.
I don't think we have to do unless we have to.
They said if there's any expenses, they're willing to share the cost on it, so.
Okay.
So there's money I know already for the Veterans Memorial in the budget, so, I don't know what it's gonna cost. And then also, there's already 2 plaques on the memorial that need to be cleaned up, the green and all of that, so I asked online to give me a price on that also, so I'll come back to you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Next. Okay. Mike.
I just got this out of our cat this morning. I was just, from all the comments I hear, they say, "Hard to drink," and so. If you guys have some of this, you said the water's getting better, or it was getting better.
They had, you said it was.
I mean, if it's safe, I'll drink.
There you go.
Pat, do you wanna?
We started doing some initial flushing of the flushing for the whole town.
Yeah.
We sent an alert out, I think last Friday, letting everybody know.
Usually send e-alerts out about every day, don't you, when you're gonna be in a certain area?
Well, this one said that we were going to be out for a week, so
Which was sent last week, is that?
we sent it out on Friday.
Okay.
So it's
Because usually
Once we start-
I get updates about it.
we can do that. We can send them out every day. The problem is a lot of times we'll be flushing in one area of town, and it still affects some of the other areas and causes some of that rust to come loose off of the fire hydrants and everything else.
So you can explain to me just what the whole flushing is for?
The flushing is to turn around and get all of that stuff out of the lines. And
I thought you weren't doing that until next year because that's what we're paying, $2.50
Well,
more.
I guess that's what I wanted to ask too about the money. Why did we get charged for that?
it's
the village out of money, it couldn't pay for its own flushing.
we did not have enough money in our water fund to be able. The rates are too low.
That's right. Come on.
Yeah. You know, you were on the board, Mike. You know how hard it is to turn around and make ends meet on some of this stuff.
Yeah,
And
when you make bad decisions, then it gets really, then it's hard
Exactly.
to go back. I mean,
Well,
yeah, I've been around, I was working for the city of Springfield when all this happened. Everybody that was here around that time were like, you know, if you could just get them to drop that borderline. I worked with Mary Apple and Todd Renfro, and we got that done. Got the letters, and here you go. Man, we were
I got the contract and brought it, I know.
yeah, so this is better. And you have no money in the water because you can't sell anymore. Nobody is gonna want this stuff. That was the big spiel. We're gonna be able to sell to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody will jump on board. I just wanted to know what everybody's paying.
We go through about 1.8 million gallons a day, so we're selling it to somebody.
Well,
we're not
we have a
getting-
choice. People that.
And you're happy with it?
I think this is, you made your comment.
Tom, I mean, I just thought I'd get some answers.
It's 5 minutes or not.
I have a question.
You get 5 minutes.
No. Defer 30 seconds to each person, your answer, what they think. Matt, will change your mind. Joe?
Would you drink that water? The water's.
You know, and I'll respond, you know, as you know where I stood, Mike, but we are, no, Mr. Greer, I'm speaking.
Let's not call the meeting to order now. Matt has the floor.
Thank you.
Hey,
You know,
it's public comment.
he just asked me,
Yeah.
so I'm responding to his comment. You know, I don't have those issues. And I'm not saying you don't have those issues because you brought it here. And, you know, I do believe we need to fix what's there. And I told Bonnie like this the other night. We had dinner together at, and Kate was there, we were there. But, you know, and I told her, I said, if she suffered claimed health issues. And I said, well, if a doctor reports that to the health department like you're supposed to, that there's a health issue, I'll say, hey, we need to go back, because it's hurting our citizens. Or if a judge says, we're breaching the contract, then again, but at this point, we're not at that point. And, as I see your water, I'm not saying there's no issues, and I know Chris is gonna bring up his, and I'm not gonna say he doesn't have issues, but, I'm saying I don't, and my neighbors don't, so, but, I do feel and do care that others do, and, I wanna see it, get better, because, if it affects some, it affects Chatham as a whole, so, I do care.
Pat, are there recommendations that go out with the flushing in terms of?
Yes, there was an email that turned around and said that you would have discolored and try not to do laundry at that time. Let the water run for a little bit before you drink it, if you see it coming out. I mean, the city of Springfield has the same problem. Every community has the same problem. When you turn around and you disturb the lines, you're gonna turn around and loosen up rust in hydrants and everything
A
else.
friend of mine sent this to me from Springfield.
Great water.
Okay, moving
And
on.
I'll tell you, my parents live on Lake
Not
Springfield,
to
and they've had
convince
issues.
I'm not trying to, Mike.
Yeah, you are.
Which
No, I'm
is
not.
Springfield water.
I'm just telling you, we did flushing today and that's why your water's brown.
Excuse me. I thought the whole point of the $250 a month was to pay for a flushing model and program, because they weren't able to do the flushing in town without this specific model and program.
And today was the first
Yet
day of
we're
the
doing
test. No. Today was the first day of the testing of the model. What they have to do is they have to flush certain hydrants, and they come back and look at our SCADA system and see how the pressures drop. So they want to make sure that the pressure stays the same while they're doing the flushing program. So this was a test.
So the model.
They're going to be doing, the model is pretty much done. Now they're just calibrating it to make sure that they get everything right. When we get into the full-blown program, everyone will be notified again, but we'll notify people step by step, all the way along the way. There'll be signs out. We're going to try to put everything on the webpage.
My mother doesn't get on the computer.
So
But when
Is
we
that why we
have,
had low water pressure this morning?
it may have been. It may have been.
Yeah, because I noticed.
but when people report that we have water like this, and like at my house, I don't understand why we're not at least under a boil order. Because honestly, I don't mean to be whatever, but I'm real tired of being sick. And it seems like when my daughter brings me water to use my house, and then after I run out of that, a few days later, I'm sick again. I'm on my 4th round of antibiotics for intestinal infections and bacterias, and it gets old. and my doctor's not gonna report it to the health department because it's something that we are dealing with. It's not like some massive communicable disease that they have to report. And honestly, he doesn't wanna get tied up into it, he's a little worried about it, of what's gonna come at him in his practice.
Okay, next commenter.
Oh, I got it.
You still have a couple minutes left.
Oh, yeah.
I was just wondering, if
I got it.
we've showed you this, wouldn't it be wise to put us into a boil order? Or something to keep us a little safer, because I can't just keep going, oh, wait a minute, my water crappy today. Let me go over here.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, wouldn't it be a
that's what
safe
bothered me more
measure?
than anything.
Typically, when communities do flushing, I think the instructions are typical, you don't necessarily do a boil order, and I'm not an engineer, but I think it's about, knowing that it's coming and running that water out. And I'm not sure, it sounds like that's kind of what some of the direction from CM&T has been.
It is.
I don't think that's what it said, that it's
But I
gonna be
have that all
testing
the
our
time.
flushing model either. And we were talking about that was gonna be fall, and it's gonna be next spring, we're gonna be informed about it. We just got something that says calibration text alert. That doesn't tell us anything between that and any of the other oil.
And I really wasn't sure what to do with it afterwards, just let it run. I mean, flushed my toilet about 10 times, and it was still,
Where do you,
paying for this, we're paying, not only paying for the
what area of town,
test you're doing.
where do you live?
Chester.
They said they were working over on the west side of town.
I can guarantee you that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I wasn't informed. I have a granddaughter now. She's 4. She's old enough to get on a chair and turn on the faucet, take a drink of water. I mean, if I wasn't watching her, it's just more information, I guess. I don't know what, this is a lot of money that was spent, and it didn't have to be this way.
Okay, next commenter.
So we have a time on this thing.
My turn?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Finally. I'm not gonna bring up this because I just sent you pictures that we've been getting on the website. A lot of people having issues whether it's you're flushing or not. I totally agree that the flushing should be put out on the website. I'm not always home to be able to run over and tell mom to let her water run 24/7. Find another way to let your citizens know, okay? Now, let's get to the basics. I've been to the water meetings. Boy, oh boy, this is amusing. Besides sending Pat out there the last time, you all need to take a trip out. I don't know who's throwing who under the bus quick enough. I've been contacted by a few people out in the Rochester area, Thomas Road, that they've been strong-armed by a couple of people trying to get them to put water lines in. So I asked the Water Commission, you guys doing it? Your engineers doing it? No, that's EJ Water. I said, do you have a contract with EJ Water? An agreement? Nope, they're all looking around going, no. Well, somebody happened to know that they did. So I avoided it. They lied. They're selling EJ water to resell to citizens in Rochester. But it's not associated with the Sangamon County Water Commission. And why? Because nobody wants that dirty old nasty water. You want a breach of contract, you've got it, attorney. Look it up, quit listening to Mayor Gray, because he's not going to change his mind. Look it up. There's a breach of contract with the fact that those bonds were sold at 3.3 million gallons of water per day. They openly admitted at the meeting, and I've got it taped, and Matt Mao did not buy me dinner. God, he did not buy my beer or anything. You and me can go have a beer, and I'll buy yours, and I'll let you listen to it. They can only produce 2.1, and they're producing even less than that. Then they're gonna turn around, they're gonna sell EJ water, just sell to somebody else. Originally, they told us they had 1 commercial client and 44 residential. Out of that 44 residential, so far, we found 3 that gets free water for their agreement. Somebody give me free water and I'll quit spending Tuesday nights with you. But I want better water than what we're getting, okay? So there's another breach. They played that on you guys. They're talking about this, and I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, hydromatic pump, and they need 1.2 or 103,000, one of the two. What's awful funny that on your guys' warrants, this time, you guys are looking at the same kind of product. Are we paying for it for them? Don't answer it, because I wouldn't expect you to tell me the truth, folks. You got your breach, Jeff. Do your job. You may think you work for only the mayor, but sooner or later, your name is gonna look like Myers, because we're not giving up. The breach is there. You know it. And that's not the only breach. There's other ones out there. Quit spending our money too. I have asked nicely, and I'm done being nice. I have. I've been very pleasant, but I'm done. I told you guys to come up with some kind of limit on how much money you guys can spend. You're about to spend $43,000 on a damn lawnmower. Seriously, are you people nuts? City of Springfield's a hell of a lot bigger than this village, and they're not spending $43,000 on a mower. Wait till the end of the season. Somebody give me the specs on that mower for $43,000, and I'll do your job again, just as well as all these FOIAs and everything else is doing for you guys, finding that breach and everything else. Somebody give me the specs for that mower, and I'll bet you I can find it cheaper than $43,000. It's the end of the year. You really want to spend that kind of money? Save it, because somebody might need a raise real soon. You might have to pay for somebody resigning. You know, pay them out of pocket, get rid of them. And if I thought there was no way that man back there would put cuffs on me, I'd be behind every single one of you three, probably you two. I'd pull out your chair and tell you you're all fired for being idiots and putting this village through this crap.
Okay, that's a personal attack.
Oh, I
Take
think
it
it's
off
personal
there.
attack.
Next commenter, please.
I have some questions about some of the warrants, and you say that's a personal attack. This water plant has put a personal attack on all of us, so I really don't want to hear that. One of them is for Ray O'Haron miscellaneous clothing of $2,200. Does anybody know what that's for?
What does it say?
Miscellaneous clothing. $2,236 and
Allowance for all the officers. They're allowed $500 a year, and that's what purchase uniforms for officers.
Well, then that needs to be put down there, because miscellaneous clothing,
Sounds like buying for coat.
yeah, sounds like something else. Okay, the rural electric expense, what is that?
I don't know.
It's $201.76. Guys, you're the trustees, you don't know what you're signing off on? You don't know what it is?
For the substation.
Okay, and then the MIDA monthly metered electric usage is about $717,000 a month.
That's our electric bill.
It says monthly metered electric usage, $717,643.88.
It's the agency we purchase our electric from.
Yeah.
And that's a month?
It says a month, I'm assuming it is,
Who did that deal for us? I mean, seriously, who did that deal for us? Rural Electric, $201 and $717,000. Who did that deal for us? I bet we all know. And he's the first rat to jump the ship, isn't he? I've lived in this town for 30 years. And I've had State Journal Register for 30 years. Never in that 30 years have I seen 2 pages of homes for sale in Chatham. Never. Does that ring a bell? Does that make you think, why is that? Why are people moving out of Chatham? You know, if the little handout that Jewel gave you last week doesn't open your eyes, and we already know they're gonna start charging us above $8 for our water.
They told us that.
They told us that.
Last Tuesday, they told us that. And you know what, Joe? You sent a text to Jewel that said, nobody's getting any special treatment or anything. Well, let me tell you something, at that meeting last week, all those guys there on the board, those trustees said, no, nobody's getting any kind of special deal, nobody's getting free water or anything. And Laura spoke up and said, well, yeah, there's several that are getting free water for 20 years. For 20 years. And that deal was made before South Sangamon Water Commission was established.
Who was that?
Yeah, so who was that? Was that our illustrious Dell, or was it our illustrious ex-attorney? Who made those deals? So for you to say nobody's getting special, because I know a lady who is getting for $36 a month, 20,000 gallons of water.
I believe I said, no Chatham customers.
She's just comparing the fact that the South Sangamon Commission also said no one's getting free water.
Well,
When in fact, they were.
if you know Chatham customers that are getting free water.
Well, how are we to know? South Sangamon County Water Commissioners, they didn't even know. So how do we know what deals were made? We don't know.
Did you ask what the details of those deals were? If they included, if they were given water instead of for right-of-ways that the commission didn't have to purchase? Or land that they didn't have to purchase?
No.
Or other expenses to the water commission that they didn't have to make because they made a trade of water or right-of-ways?
But here's the thing.
And that would be the deal.
The commission,
That would be the.
but the commission didn't know about it. That's their job to know about that stuff.
She shouldn't have to look that up.
Nobody should have to ask that question. And for someone from outsider, and we all know why Myers isn't at his office anymore.
But John Myers is still practicing attorney.
Yes, he is, but he's not for the group he used to be. We all know why that is.
Same food today.
I mean, it's pretty sad, guys. And then you got water like this, and you blame it on the flushing. What about the days they're not flushing, and we're getting water like this?
Next commenter, please.
5 minutes up.
I don't care.
Yes.
I have a few things to share. People couldn't be here tonight, so, the water quality interest group gets texts and emails and this all the time. And, this is all recent, and it's really just exhibiting the same thing. You know, we've got scale coming off the water heaters, valves that are leaking because they're completely plugged with corrosive scale. Distilled water, this is from July, it's still green. Sinks that are failing and falling apart. This lady is really furious. This was Saturday, or it started Saturday, they had to replace the whole sink. Her name is on that. This one, they live by you, Dave. This was Saturday. It's getting old. I want y'all to take a good look at it though. But they call me and they ask me to come get this stuff to bring to you because they don't have the time nor the patience to stand up here and say the same things over and over. You're ruining our homes. You're ruining the distribution system and it's costing us a lot of money. A couple of other things. What Bonnie was talking about, the fact that there's customers on their line that have some sort of special or preferential rate, that is not in the bond ordinances. There's no provision there for that. Somebody needs to look into that. Second thing, the Water Quality Interest Group is going to have another public forum and an open meeting in September. And depending on what the citizens say, I'm pretty sure we're going to start pooling our money and obtain a lawyer. That's our next step. Thank you.
Next commenter, please. Yes.
I couldn't ask this question last week because I'm sorry, was there somebody else?
Please go.
Well, no, your time is restricted. Well, mine's not on the water, that's why I'm waiting for the line. Anyway. The purchasing of 2 new police cars, I didn't quite understand why we put one in, purchasing police department vehicles in 2016. And it's on there if you scroll that up a little bit or whatever. And then we have an ordinance for a capital lease agreement for a 2017. When did we really talk about them except for a couple minutes at the last meeting? Do you not ever discuss things like this? This is thousands of dollars that's being spent. Last year they bought 3 brand new cars. And another question I have is, do we really lease these for 10 years? We finance them for 10 years? And I don't really understand why we lease anything, because by the time you pay the interest on the loans and you pay the difference to buy the vehicle you've been driving, I can't see where you've saved any money whatsoever.
I was gonna say, I think we'll be asking those questions when they comes up.
Oh, you will be?
And I think those will be addressed, your question.
So, thank you.
Well, usually you guys don't discuss anything, so that's why I asked.
Okay, next commenter? Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to know, you guys talked about the breach, and Jeff, you said that you would do whatever the board said. Have you guys told him to go ahead with this breach?
Oh, I'm all in favor of pursuing.
So what, can we have an answer on that? That's been what, 4 meetings ago, maybe? You said you would give us an answer, Jeff. So have you heard from all the board members?
That's something that's still in progress and stuff.
You know, how long is it gonna be in progress, gentlemen? Seriously,
You could have had a baby by this
2.5 years it has been going on.
Make the decision, you guys. You are ruining people's homes, their health. This is ridiculous. Mayor, you don't care because you're out of here, but I guarantee you, there are gonna be criminal charges, you guys. There are gonna be. And I don't know why you don't think there are. What is wrong with you? You don't care? You were elected for these positions. Act like you care. Do the breach, let's move on. Get back to city water line power. The engineer stood up and said it will never be correct. Did you not all hear him? Please, for the grace of God, tell this man to go ahead with the breach. Kinsey?
I don't think we want to discuss legal issues.
Why?
Again,
We have been asking this for months, years. Where's your position? Mayor?
Next commenter?
Oh, boy.
Yes.
As long as we're on this business of people not telling the truth. I went to the SSWC meeting too on Tuesday, and I got to meet our new commissioner, which we didn't get to meet the night he was voted on. Nobody saw him, didn't see him. One of the things that we asked was, he volunteered actually, his background. And I remember you, Mayor, saying that he was never connected with Jacksonville. And one of the first words out of his mouth was he was on again, off again at Jacksonville. And we all heard you say that.
No, I never said anything
Oh,
about
yes,
Jacksonville.
you did.
Because I knew he did do engineering.
at the next meeting, we'll bring us video and audio recordings that we made of that, because the audio wasn't working that day, but we did tape it, so we do have that.
Okay.
So we will give you that. Don't worry, we fixed your audio problem.
Next commenter?
Hi, my name's Chris. I know some of you on the board, some of you I don't. But this is what I came home to today.
Chris, what's your last name, please?
Bolero.
Pardon me?
Bolero.
Bolero?
Spell that?
Spell it for me.
B as in Bravo, O as in Oscar, L as in Lima, L as in Lima, E as in Echo, R as in Romeo, O as in Oscar. So as I was saying, so this went through my filter, through my fridge. This was in my child's bathtub before we were gonna give her a bath. I don't know if you guys have kids at home, or if you've had kids, but I don't know if any of you would want to give your 1-year-old daughter a bath in this water. I'll pass it around so you can see.
Smell it. Drink it.
Take a drink, guys.
Take a drink.
Which one of you wants to take a drink? This water's good, it meets standards, take a drink.
That's my daughter. Want her to take a bath in that? She can take a bath in that. Is that okay? Dalton, sleep at night. So taking a bath in that. So we've all been elected to these positions. Some of you have grown up in Chatham, been here all your lives. I assume you took these positions because you wanted to make Chatham better. If that's not the reason, please step down. Because some of you may not have that right mindset to actually make Chatham better based off of your actions since you've been on board. You've mentioned about the water, the flushing that's causing the water issue, and that we are testing someone else's system, is that right?
No, we're testing our water.
This test, it's a trial, right? We're testing our testing,
They're flushing the hydrants at a
but
certain.
we're testing it.
Yes,
You mentioned that we're testing it, we're not qualifying it, we're testing it.
correct.
Okay, but you're testing it on the citizens. Okay, so where I work, I do stuff with contracts with vendors, and when we test our stuff, we don't test it on the citizens of the state of Illinois. We do internal testing first. You can test it on your home, test it on your water here, but you test it on the citizens. And another comment that was made, sounds like we're trying to take a reactive approach. Well, since this hasn't been an issue in the medical community yet, and the doctor hasn't brought forth evidence, then we're not going to do anything. So we're taking a reactive approach to an issue that's been brought up by multiple people, I assume. This is my first time attending. Why don't we take a proactive approach? Anybody would like to comment on that? Or something for you to ponder? Okay, thank you. Next comment.
Okay. Jeff Greer for the record. I'm gonna start with ordinance 0747, August 14, 2007. That would be 2 years before South San. Authorizing action in regard to Village of Chatham Water Treatment Plant, well field and transmission line. VOC deems it necessary and appropriate in public interest of the Village of Chatham to proceed with the final design and financing of the Village of Chatham Water Treatment Plant, well field and transmission line. Proper officers of the village are authorized and directed to direct the village engineers and consultants, including but not limited to EMC, Donahue and Associates, Green and Bradford, Williamson and Hart, Southward, and attorney. VOC ordinance 0748, August 14, 2007, authorizing and directing the village president to terminate the water supply contract with CWLP 2 years before the negotiation of the CWLP and everything else. We've already been authorized to terminate that contract. August 28, 2007, water supply project kickoff meeting for design team held August 22nd to discuss right-of-way acquisition, bonding goals, design schedule, and engineering needs. Letters have been sent to potential customers for Mansion Road, water main, and extensions. August 28, 2007, ordinance 0750, approving proposal for GIS utility department software and professional services. September 11, 2007, water supply project. This is VOC meeting minutes from September 11. Acquisition continues with landowners. The Illinois Financing Authority suggested a bridge loan of $2.5 million through IFA for 1 year prior to issuing bonds for the construction project. Water rates, with discussion held on proposal to increase water rates by 6%. All of this was back before any information was available online. Also noted on September 11, 2007 meeting minutes was another one of our technical difficulty. Clerk Shad's computer had technical difficulty and has been out of service for 2 weeks. The August 28th and September 11th board meeting minutes will be on September 25th consent agenda for passage. Nobody knew about this stuff. You guys were passing these things and it had technical difficulties. All that I just read, all happened in that time period that nobody had any idea for weeks. Any explanation on that kind of stuff, why the citizens weren't told about all this stuff passing? Why nobody had a backup computer, they couldn't record minutes, they couldn't notify the public? Do we have any information on whether this stuff actually ran in the paper, was approved prior to it, who voted on this stuff? It's a lot of stuff. September 18, 2007, Donahue EMC and village staff met with Illinois EPA to review the design procedures for utilizing the microfiltration process. Attachment E provides minutes of that meeting. As the minutes show, Illinois EPA confirmed groundwater being used is to be considered gooey, groundwater under the influence of surface water. After the decision to proceed, village directed Donahue to compile bid specs to procure the microfiltration units. Anybody have any comments on that part yet? Everybody understand, because you're all here, some of you passed this stuff, so you know if it all sounds familiar. I bet it does. September 25th, water supply project. Illinois EPA will require some additional info concerning microfiltration treatment process and will need pilot tests to be performed. President Gray, October 2007, introduced New Berlin Mayor and New Berlin Water Supply Superintendent Tim Bliss, City of New Berlin, to board's final approval of letter of intent to sign with New Berlin. So we went from dropping out of Rochester in 2005 to becoming the Village of Chatham water plant. None of the citizens even knew about it. We signed with New Berlin, became Chatham, New Berlin, behind the scenes, and then suddenly South Sangamon is all formed, all wrapped up. Sounds like a pretty good summary based on all the information that Clerk Shad is trying to have destroyed. Is that correct?
Not yet.
I haven't tried to destroy anything.
Okay.
Oh,
Just checking.
we'll get that.
Where have you,
The request to get rid of.
I'm not gonna say anything.
For 5 minutes.
All right, that's fine.
No.
We've got
All right, let's go get that. Ordinance 0762, authorizing and providing for installation of a purchase agreement for the purpose of paying costs of designing, acquiring, and constructing a new waterworks system, and authorizing and providing for the issue of 2.5 million debt certificates, October 23rd, 2007. This is all years before South Sangamon Water Commission. So all these free deals, okay, all these deals and all that kind of stuff was happening during 2006, 2007. You might have sold it to the public that it was in 2009, 2010. You need to start looking at 2006, 2007, 2003, 2004. What they're telling you to research South Sangamon, that's not when the water project began. 1988 it began. 2003 it began. This stuff was already a done deal in 2006, 2007. All they needed was New Berlin's Illinois EPA mandate that they needed new water, and now they just kind of sold it to the citizens that way. So that's where you need to look at the breach, was those contracts that they passed without our knowledge in 2006 and 2007. Don't start your timeline in 2009. You need to go back, turn a few pages. So let's do it.
We are a wealth of information, aren't we?
Oh, I have 114 more pages I haven't remembered yet.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Just a couple quick things. I don't know, my name's Kirk Allen. I don't know what your policy is on getting things on the agenda, but if I may make a suggestion, you place on the next agenda a vote to instruct the attorney to take, some measure to identify how we can fix the problem, whether it be through a breach or whatever. That way the citizens know where you stand on it instead of having to guess. The other thing I would suggest is a policy, some type of policy from the board that covers the employees that apply to the public. Most places they would be terminated. I don't know if you have a policy in that regard or not. That's all I have.
Okay, moving along. Can I have a motion to put the consent agenda on the table for
Is there anyone
consideration?
other comments?
I have a question on the whole mower situation. I've been looking back and back and back about every couple of years. I'm trying to figure out why now we want to spend $43,000 on one. when if you go back in 2013, there was a mower bought for $5,900. 2011, one with a 72-inch deck for $66,800. 2009, another 72-inch deck one, $74,50. The most I have been able to go back and find up until like the late 90s, every couple of years there's some kind of mower bought. The most I found was in 2007. And in the ordinance it read that it was going to be about $46,000. However, when you looked at the actual bills that were put on there, $35,023 was spent on a tractor and a loader. The mower bought at that time was actually $11,000. One, there's an awful lot of mowers bought every couple of years. And they're all, say even the $11,000 and under, down to $5,900. Why now, 3 years later after the $5,900 one, is it $43,000? We don't have money for the right flushing program, we're billing this and we're billing that. Dear Lord, why? And why is it that when you want to send out for bids, you put it by the library news in, what, the Clarion? Why not put it out decent where all the other things asking for bids are in the St. Journal Register? Maybe we get bids for something better. Instead, you look at the paper and under library news, a little section says, oh, we want bids.
How do we control where our ads are put in the newspaper? I know when I put an ad in the paper, I don't control where it goes.
Not inside the paper. We control which papers we put it in.
Yeah, which ones we do, but not where it goes.
So why not put it in the State Journal Register and get a lot of bids? And why, what is it about this that you need to spend 4 times the amount of money on a mower that we have quite a few of? And what kind? Because all these other ones list what they are: a Pro C-Track mower, 72-inch deck, or a 2950. I mean,
You know the
really?
details, Pat, is it John Deere, is it?
All the details, the bid packages, what the specs were, what the ad in the paper are all on board docs. Every single one of those documents are on board docs. Both the bids are on board docs.
I guess what I'm asking is, why do we need the highest end thing in the world when for 15 years or so, this has been working? We've got a lawn company that works all over Chatham and Springfield and Auburn and everything that does our properties. And I think their biggest one, he said, was about $9,000 for the main mower that we use on commercial properties.
Did you say it was a John Deere?
Which one?
One, most recent one you're talking about?
Oh, the $43,000? I don't have that right here, but is it not, it's through Sloan's, but is it not a John Deere or a Jacobson?
Is it on board docs? You can like pull it up real quick?
Yeah, it's on the board, you can you
Well, I'm sure the board will discuss it further when it comes up.
actually, I'll have that.
Okay, can I have a motion?
We got more public comments?
I just wanna, I'm still waiting on a reply for a face-to-face meeting.
No.
Get what you asked? What's your comment?
I've emailed for a face-to-face meeting, the water group was there and he's declined.
Decline.
Face-to-face
Oh.
meeting?
With citizens, he doesn't want to talk to the citizens of these.
Yeah.
With the mayor.
Okay.
Okay, all right, can I have a motion?
I made a quick comment. You know, a face-to-face meeting would,
I need your name,
show
please.
John Kraft, a face-to-face meeting would show that you truly don't have anything to hide. Always saying no.
I responded,
Leads people to believe that,
I I said, put the questions in writing, because I'm not an expert on water. There's many things I couldn't begin to answer. And if they would put the questions in writing, we'll have Jeff and the engineers and.
Well, if they put the questions in writing, will you answer them at a face-to-face meeting?
No.
No, I said.
Like I said, the face-to-face meeting leads people to think you don't have anything to hide. By continually saying no on a face-to-face meeting, people get the idea that you are hiding, which I believe you are.
Okay.
And the other thing is, you do have the ability to tell a newspaper where to put your stinking ad.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to put the consent agenda on the table for consideration?
John Kraft, is that what you said?
I'll make the motion.
We have a second. Any questions about the warrants to be paid for corrections to the minutes?
Just a quick question. I know CMP, I see a couple items in there in which it says invoice allocated to general water investigation for $4,000, but then it's taken back. Same with Iron Bridge Plant 2. Do we know what that's about?
When CMT reviews the plans for each of the subdivisions, their fees are mostly covered by the developer. We charge, remember, we passed that ordinance, and that's where we recoup the fees for a lot of their bills.
Okay. And I know, but it seems like they were charging us and then they took back the charges, and I'm not sure.
I'm not sure on that either, Joe.
Okay.
Joe, I'm wondering, just taking a look at the account numbers, if they made it charge all the wrong accounts, and that was correct.
That may be. Okay.
Any other questions? Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton?
Yes.
Kinsey?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the sketch map day.
Ordinance
41.
1641, approve sketch map and location master for Highlands subdivision.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Pat?
That's where you can say something.
It went through the planning commission, there was no comments, it was approved there. You guys, we discussed it at the last committee meeting. Set of the plans are sitting there on the table. It's 84 lots, all R1A, north of the cemetery, squeezed in between Quail Meadows.
Cul-de-sacs,
There's a couple cul-de-sacs there.
are we gonna have the same issues we did in Harvey? Because I don't know who's paying that $20,000 over there yet. I'm just asking one now.
Were the street names taken care of?
The streets' names are taken care of. We told them that they had to use Plover and Mallard, the existing streets.
Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton?
Yes.
Kinsey? Yes. Calhoun?
Yes.
Now?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Okay, the police department vehicles. Dave?
Ordinance 1642, authorizing the purchase of 2016 Ford Police Interceptors.
Do we have a second? Discussion. Vernon, you want?
As he gets up here, just as a distinction, this one is just being purchased purely out of existing village funds, there's no borrowing associated with that.
Correct.
It was in the budget for this year, and the board voted for that budget.
Do the trustees have any questions for Vernon?
And the funds are coming from the telecommunications tax, is that right?
This one, yes.
Any further discussion?
Just so I know that these purchases were questions of mine previously, and I know we talked about it in the budget, it's just for the public's understanding. You guys have a vehicle replacement policy and whatnot, and there is a cost savings. Would you mind touching on that so everyone's aware?
I mean, we try to maintain our fleet. I mean, right now, we've got 7 vehicles just currently, as we speak, with over 80,000 miles on it. And it's not necessarily the miles we're concerned about, it's the hours also. It's a safety issue.
So as far as, we try to maintain our fleet. I know there's a comment made earlier that we purchased 3 vehicles last year. No, that's not entirely true. We purchased 2. We do have 3 brand new 2016s. One of them was replaced because of an accident for insurance purposes. But we try to keep our fleet up to date as much as possible for those safety reasons.
Okay, so which vehicles are gonna be retired?
The 2 of them that we retired will be a 2004 Chevy. It's got a little over 100,000 miles on it. And then the other one will be a 2007 GMC, the Envoy, which was donated by Israel House approximately 7 or 8 years ago. That vehicle is going to be handed over to the electric department. It's got about 150,000 miles on it.
So that one's gonna be handed over to the electric department. The other one that you said, is that gonna be?
The other one will be traded in. More than likely, we'll get maybe $500,000 for it, maybe somewhere in that ballpark. That's just a guess on my part. No, 500 to 1,000.
Okay, Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton?
Yes.
Kinsey?
Yes.
Melton?
Yes.
Now?
Yes.
And Scarpa?
Yes.
Okay, Dave, commercial break mowers.
16-43, approving the purchase of commercial grade mower from Sloan.
We have a second.
Second.
Pat, we'll go through it.
I can go through that. I got, we had 2 bids. One was from John Deere, and the other one was from Sloan Implement. They both spec'd out a John Deere lawnmower, 1600 turbo series commercial, wide area mower with 2 post folding. So it ends up being, I think, I want to say, it doesn't have here. Oh, here it is. A 62-inch wide center deck and 2 42-inch wide side decks. And we use this on all the sports fields because it's so big. We can turn around and run that up and down. And instead of having to go 20 times down a field, or 10 times down a field, you could go down at one time. So
It's essentially 140 inches.
yeah. They're expensive. The bid from Sloan was for $44,000, and the bid from John Deere was $47,850.
As a village citizen.
This replaces the 25-year-old mower.
Yes,
It's the same style.
it's the same style. It was hard to find one that big, but
I told you I'd fill
Any questions
So
from the
it's-
trustees for
It's
Pat?
essentially replacing a fully depreciated.
yes,
Okay.
that we've had trouble with the last few years.
Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton?
Yes.
Kinsey?
Yes.
Melton?
Yes.
Now?
Yes.
Scarpa?
Yes.
Okay, hydraulic line stop, Dave.
16-44, ordinance approving the purchase of hydraulic line stop equipment from MCO.
We have a second. Pat,
This equipment is to turn around and put valves into an active service line. If we had a water main break in front of my house and the nearest valves to shut that off was a block and a half this way and a block and a half the other way, to be able to shut those off and operate on that, we would have to turn around and then put all those people under a boil order. With this type of equipment, we can go in and put a valve next to where the break is at and just shut off 1 or 2 customers instead of having to shut off the whole a big large area.
And you currently put these valves in any place where you're doing line work or there's a break or something?
Almost every time we have a break, we end up calling Illinois Meter to come out and put these in. Cost around $5,000. We finally, the last 2 employees that we hired in our water department worked for Illinois Meter using this type of equipment. So now that we have the expertise to use it, we decided to purchase it, and then essentially, as we put those in, it essentially pays for itself on what we were having to hire outside to come in and do.
So 16 stops.
Yeah.
And with all the upcoming water main breaks, when it goes in the water, we probably.
So we had 2 bids. One of them was $76,400, and the other one was $80,740.
Are they capable of doing all the pipes in different sizes here? Because I'm sure there's different sizes throughout town, I'm just asking.
I would think so, but I don't know that for a fact.
Okay, so they did research on the 76,000, probably know that answer.
Except the bids that came in were 4-inch to 12-inch.
Okay. And that covers everything our size, I think. Well, we do have an 18-inch on Walnut Street as it comes into town, but that's it.
Okay, Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton?
Yes.
Kimsey?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Mal?
Yes.
Carmen?
Yes. Okay, David, please, for that.
Ordinance 16-45, authorizing and approving a lease purchase agreement with Bank Trust Company for the purchase of 2017 Ford Police Interceptor utility haul.
We have a second.
Second. You want me to go over this one just real quick?
I guess you probably hit it, it's a 3-year lease term.
Yeah, the municipal code allows the village to borrow money for up to 10 years. So in the ordinance, we cite that authority, but this is actually, in the text of the ordinance, states that the loan will only be for 3 years at an interest rate of 1.39%. So, and although it's called a capital lease, it really looks like it's really not a lease, it's really more of a structured borrowing. It has more to do with the title of it, but basically, the village is borrowing the money, they will own the vehicle, and will require payment over those 3 years. The borrowing is $33,000, and some of the other money, the remaining balance will be paid from existing village funds. So hopefully that answers those questions that you had. It's just 3 years, not 10 years.
Good job. Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton?
Yes.
Kimsey? Johnson?
Yes.
Mal?
Yes.
Carmen?
Yes. Okay, Pat, your report.
We finally finished up the cleanup of the Klaus property yesterday. As you guys recall, we had started and then the project stopped when Mr. Klaus intervened. So we went back to court and Ryan met, they went to court on August the 5th. The judge gave him 2 weeks to do cleanup himself. I'm not sure how much he did, but on August the 22nd, they went back out there. They started their work. Mr. Klaus intervened again yesterday for a little bit yesterday. Or no, it was today, I think. Yesterday. And they took him down to the county for a few hours while they finished cleaning up the rest of the stuff. And then at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, they finally had everything done.
Pat, I know I looked at Ryan's email briefly. If this occurs again, are we going to have to go back through the whole process again then? Or is it something that would be something we can just go back real quick and say, hey, he's at it again?
It depends on how the court order was written, and I'm not sure, I wasn't the attorney involved in this case, another attorney from another firm handled it. But it depends on how that court order was issued.
Ryan said it said that they would go back to the county court instead of to our jurisdictional here. So,
Under the same case?
Under the same case, yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like it's set up that they can kind of have continuing jurisdiction.
And I was informed on my way up here that he's already bringing things back to the property.
Today, he was?
Yeah.
Audio's not working.
So something like that, then we'll need to continue to monitor if there's a contempt of the court order and continue to enforce that. So, turn out it letting it as out of control as it did.
Excuse me, the audio's not working. Do we unplug something?
I think the IT person did make it in for a month here.
It appears that it's working here. Sorry.
No, they called.
Okay.
Pat, isn't there actually, I mean, it may be older, but isn't there an ordinance that you guys have that says that be it weeds or trees or trash or, big stuff like that, that you can give somebody one, maybe 2 warnings and then go in and get it without going back through court? Isn't there an ordinance on the books for that?
There are
I thought I
those,
saw one.
there are those provisions in both the municipal code and I think in our village ordinances, yes.
But I think wouldn't that keep you from having to go through court?
Well,
I believe the court order would supersede what our ordinance says. So whatever the court order says is what we have to follow.
And ideally, we, as opposed to us having to continually go in there and do it and then leave the property, we'd like him to be cleaning that property up as well.
But if he doesn't get treatment for something, it's gonna continue. Yeah. I understand y'all's position, but I feel bad for him also. This is something that, until someone helps him, I don't think this is ever gonna get cleared up. It's gonna continue. He does. Maybe so.
Do you have anything else? Lee Bruton gave me a report of the minutes from the previous, from their water meeting. He also gave me copies of the 2 resolutions that were passed. One of them was to an intent to issue bonds up to $500,000. And the other one was they hired a Spear Financial to help them with some of their financial stuff.
Is he going to be at these future meetings?
I also put on the village webpage a link to all of their monthly reports. So if anyone wants to go and see, you can click on it. It'll take you directly to their webpage and has all of their monthly operating reports for the last year and this year.
Chad, you were there at the last meeting. Did you let them know about the non-compliance violation that they received also? Did you heard that there?
That's in that operating report, but they are in non-compliance for their effluent leaving the plant and going into the local stream. They said they have a fix. They've worked that out with the EPA and that they were hoping to have it installed by the end of the month.
Okay.
They didn't even know.
I'm sorry?
Bring something clear, guys. They didn't even know about the non-compliance
Is there
report.
further monitoring for that?
Was not discussed in the meeting at all in the open, so that might have been after the fact.
Yeah.
That was not
Jeff
discussed.
is the one who brought up the non-compliance and he emailed it to Dan
Dan Held
Held.
said he didn't know anything about it.
He didn't know anything about it.
Did you have a private meeting after?
I did talk to Dan afterwards, but I thought he covered that in his
He said he
operating.
didn't know about it, and I emailed it to him during the meeting.
Somebody raised it to Trustee Lindhurst, and then that's how I think we circled back and got the answer on what their plan was in the
But I guess
IEP. That's how I was aware.
Communication, he was out there, but we're still, nobody saw the village citizens telling him, hey, we have non-compliance advisories at that plant, that's the whole problem.
Just
It's none of
said
these
they
other
said
ones
it.
have never been communicated.
Didn't you just say they said it in the meeting? And we-
I thought Dan Held was sitting there and said that in the
Dan
meeting.
Held flat out stated, we have the audio of that too, that he did not.
It may have come from, because I think when Trustee Lindmore said that to me, I think I communicated that to you, so that may have been where that came from.
So maybe we need to have a special thing on these agenda items for non-compliance advisories.
I wasn't at the meeting, I don't know what was said, but I know that's how I knew about it.
So, yeah, again, is Lee Bruton gonna be at these meetings at some point?
How did Nina when did Nina tell you?
Say
I don't remember.
that was not said in the meeting.
She's been in training for 2 weeks, so.
It may have been a couple of weeks ago, I can tell you.
But
At that meeting last Tuesday, Dan Held knew nothing about the non-compliance report from the state.
I have it on my phone.
It was August 15th, is when I got the message from Nina, so I don't.
Well, they didn't know about it, and Jeff emailed it to him. And then later, what was it?
Here we go.
Who got the letter? Who got the email that said, that was in from Laura, that was in the mail, and she forgot to give it to him or something? Who got that email? Somebody got an email.
In the report here in the minutes, it says, there continues to be an exceedance in the maximum allowable chlorine in the settling pond effluent.
That's
The
the same thing
chlorine,
they said for the last 40 months.
the chlorine,
Non-compliance.
So now they have a non-compliance advisory from the Illinois EPA, an actual document that says it's not just a little line on the thing, they actually have a non-compliance advisory that they.
You completely.
I'm done.
I will make a motion to go into executive session for probable litigation.
And you have to review.
No review moves everyone.
Do we have a second? Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clay.
Yes.
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 And,
Will we be acting on anything when we come back?
no,
So why don't we,
I want to make an announcement real quick while everybody's still here. I wish Joe was here. Tuesday, August 30th is the first day to circulate nominating petitions for nonpartisan municipal candidates. August 30th,
Yeah.
2016 is the first day to circulate nominating petitions for nonpartisan municipal candidates who call to run for the primaries coming up. So, when their office opens on August 30th, you can pick up your packets. Anybody can pick up their packets. Well, not anybody, but people that want to run for municipal office. Filing is November 21st. Okay?
You got yours right now? Is that yours, Matt? Oh, yeah.
December 12th.